In the Star Wars trilogy, there are two instances where characters refer to a disturbance in the Force.
I felt a great disturbance in the Force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced.
The next instance is in The Empire Strikes Back.
There is a great disturbance in the Force.
I have felt it.
We have a new enemy, Luke Skywalker.
So what exactly does it mean that there's a disturbance in the Force? Well, it seems like it means different things to different characters. Ben's experience is rooted in his compassion for others. He's deeply moved and even physically affected by the disturbance he feels. Something unimaginably terrible has happened, and Ben has become aware of it, even partially experienced it through the Force. But does this mean that the Force itself has been disturbed, or is the Force simply a relayer of events and information, and those attuned to the Force then label these things as a disturbance based on their own moral perspective? Certainly the Emperor wouldn't label the destruction of Alderaan a disturbance. No, he saves that term for the rising power of Luke Skywalker, something Ben in turn would not label as a disturbance. The Emperor's experience is rooted in his selfishness and desire to maintain dominance over others. He's alarmed that the disturbance he feels might challenge his control and even destroy him. He hasn't so much sensed an event, but rather a surge in Luke's growth that has revealed him to the Emperor. He's possibly also sensing some vague impression that Luke's power is about to grow tremendously. Although he isn't aware that Luke is soon to train under Yoda, he can still sense the inevitable growth in Luke's strength, and he calls this a disturbance in the Force. So it seems that what is sensed through the Force and how that is experienced and labeled depends on a character's sense of morality and which side of the Force they're attuned to. I like that these experiences are vague and undefined. What is a disturbance to one is not to another. Ben and the Emperor are connected to and conceive of the Force in very different ways. One of them understands the Force as an ally, something to ultimately let go of oneself to. The other sees the Force as something to wield and control and utilize in the domination of others. So I find it really interesting how this term disturbance in the Force is used in the Star Wars trilogy. I also think this concept of characters' personal and moral identities influencing how they interpret events has some potentially interesting parallels to how we engage with our own personal and moral identities as we encounter the real world around us. It's always valuable to me to try to see how the concepts in Star Wars can potentially relate to real life. So those are my thoughts. What do you think about what's meant by a disturbance in the Force? I'd love to hear what you have to say. And when you inevitably encounter disturbances in your own life, when things get difficult and stressful, I hope that you can navigate these trials with clarity, peace, and compassion. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.